Hi friends, I'm Michelle.
And I'm Steph. Today we're going to transform this pumpkin wreath form from Dollar Tree, and you are not going to recognize it by the time we're finished.
After making my macrame fall leaf bunting for my mantle, I was really on a macrame roll and I thought, why not put macrame on this Dollar Tree wreath form, pumpkin form that I had? And I played around a bit and I love the results. Let's go over what you'll need to make this little project. For this project, you'll need a pumpkin form, some macrame cord. I added wood beads to mine. You'll also need some duct tape if you're going to do the beads and some fall flowers. I also used a ruler or yardstick for measuring out the cord, some scissors, and I used cutting dikes to cut the pumpkin form in order to get the beads on. First of all, you'll need to know how much cord to cut. You don't want to run short. I believe it's better to have too much cord than to run short in the middle of your piece. As a general rule, when you're measuring out your cord for a macrame piece, you want it to be 8 times the length of the amount you're going to macrame. So for this fall pumpkin form, I did each rib separately, and so I measured the rib of the pumpkin form, and mine was 14 to 15 inches long. So then I took the 15 inches, times it by 8, and so I cut my cord roughly to 120 inches. I did find that as I inserted beads, that I used a little less cord. However, I think it's best just to go ahead and cut your cord as long as you think you might need it to be so you don't run short. So you'll want to, I just measured out one rib at a time, measured out 120 inches, and then we'll begin by just knotting it to the frame. First, you'll want to fold your macrame cord in half, find your center, and then attach it to your frame. And you want to cross it around. I'm going to start at the bottom of the frame, and so I'm going to go hook it here, and then it's going to come up through where the wires intersect there. The knot we're going to make is called a spiral knot or a half knot sinnet. And so what we're going to do to make it, we're going to work over our wire on the pumpkin. Usually when you're doing macrame, you work your knots over a piece of cording, but for this we're going to use this as our cording that we're going to work over. So we're going to make a loop with the right side, and then we're going to take the left cord and it will go on top of that cord, and then we'll push it up through around the bottom of the wire form up through the loop and pull it. And that is a half knot. And all we're going to do is repeat that same half knot over and over again. So form our loop on the right side, take the left cord on top of that cord, go underneath the wire, pull up through the loop, and pull it tight. And as you continue to do this, it will begin to spiral around the wire form here. So it'll spiral around our pumpkin form, giving us our macrame. You can see how it's starting to curl right now. And if it gets so that you can't keep doing it this way, you can actually just flip it around and take the cord that was on the left and now it's on up here on the top side and form that loop again and cross over, come up through the loop and pull it, and you can just continue down. Now you can continue this way with no beads. Right now I'd like to show you how to insert a bead. The pattern I decided to use for inserting my beads was I did 5 of the half knots and then I inserted a bead. So in order to insert the bead, we needed to cut the wire frame. So I used my cutting dikes to cut the wire frame up towards the top of the frame, and it was about 1.5 inches to 2 inches from where the top intersected with the outside rim. You thread the bead on, and then we're just going to make a loop on the right side just as we did before. Bring the left cord across and then under the wire and pull the cord up through the loop again, and then just pull it tight. And that cording wraps around and holds that bead in place. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and do 5 more of these half knot sinnets to space them, and then I'll insert the second bead. If you're enjoying this little tutorial on how to make a fall macrame craft using a Dollar Tree pumpkin form, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and share it with your friends. Macrame has made a resurgence in the last several years and is once again very popular. I first learned how to macrame when I was 10 or 11 years old, way back in the 70s during the macrame craze, and it's fun to see that it's popular again. Now, not only can you make beautiful pieces of decor for your home, but you can also make very useful pieces like a plant hanger or even the seat of a chair. I'm going to continue to work this same pattern until I get near the cut edge of the wire. So I will insert a bead, and then I will do 5 of the half knot sinnets, and then insert another bead and continue that same pattern all the way down until that cut edge. All right, we are now ready to place on the final bead, and that will go on the short end of the wire. And now we're going to secure the wire back together. Now I use just a dab of hot glue on the edge of the wire to kind of hold it in place, and then I'm going to secure it with the duct tape. Now I just take a little short piece of that duct tape. It's only about 1 inch by 1 inch square. And I chose duct tape because it is very sticky and it sticks well to metal. So I just wrap it around that little cut edge, and then we will continue on with our macrame, covering up the tape, and you'll never know it was there. So once again, I'm just going to continue with these half knots until I have 5 of the half knots. Then I'll push up the bead and continue the half knots all the way to the end. When you're making that final half knot for this last rib here that I'm working on, I want to make sure that I'm going across the outer wire edge to loop that so that it's knotted all the way up to the very top. As I continued to work on the rest of the ribs on this pumpkin wire frame here, I realized that I did not have enough of the larger beads to work the rest of the pumpkin. I was going to run short. So on the outer 2 wire ribs on the pumpkin, I used a smaller bead, and then I decided to alternate the beads in between where the other beads were placed. So I changed my the number of half knots that I did to accommodate that. And so they adjusted between 6 and 7 half knots when I was using the smaller bead so that they would fall in between the pattern of the first 2 rows of macrame. Now that all of the wire ribs on this pumpkin form are covered with the macrame, we need to secure the ends of the cord and then trim them. So first I placed a little bit of hot glue on the edge of the wire form, and then I glued down the cord, and I did it with gluing the right side to the right and the left side to the left so it wouldn't be too bulky. And now I'm going to take a piece of duct tape and I'm going to wrap it around the cut cords. And I'm going to do this with each of the cords along the top edge of the pumpkin frame. And here you can see what it looks like when that is all completed. And finally, we need to cover the outer edge of this pumpkin form with more macrame. And so before you start doing this section, you'll want to measure all the way around the edge of this frame, times it by 8 to get the amount of macrame cords you need. And I know this is a long piece of cord to be weaving in and out of here, but you don't want to run short here. I also cut about 2 feet extra to wrap the stem with as well. So you'll find the center of your cord and you will tie it in the center at the top of the pumpkin form, and you'll begin making the half knots. As you do this, you'll fit in as many half knots as you can until you reach one of those sections of macrame that we've already done on the ribs. And then you'll bring your cord around the other side of the rib and then continue to do more half knots so that it will go all the way around the outer edge. I'm not putting any beads on this part. It is just strictly macrame knots, and it will again twirl around and get that spiral effect all the way around the outer edge. Once you get all the way around the outer edge, you'll do that last knot that will fit into position, and then I'm going to take the remaining cord there and I'm going to weave it in to cover the stem. So to cover the stem, I'm actually just taking one of the ends of the remaining cord and I'm just weaving it in and out in a figure 8 pattern until I get all the way up to the top of the pumpkin stem there. To finish off the top here of the pumpkin, I'm going to put a little hot glue along the edge there to fold it around so it'll stay put. Put a little more hot glue on the other side so that that cord will stay put at the top of the stem here, and then we'll fold it to the back and secure it to the back side of the pumpkin form. And I'll just hold it in position here while that glue cools down and adheres well to the cord. Now this cotton cord tends to fray really easily, and I don't think I mentioned that, but when you're ending and you're going to cut it, you want to wrap a piece of tape around it before you cut it so that it doesn't come all unwound on you. And then I'm just going to take that tail that's left over from the pumpkin, winding the pumpkin stem, and then just glue it down on the back side. And you'll repeat and do the same thing with that remaining cord that is left from doing the outer edge of the macrame. I think this macrame pumpkin looks adorable just the way it is, but I decided I wanted to embellish mine a little bit with some fall colored flowers. I selected some mums and I pulled off the leaves, and I first attached those leaves to the top of my macrame pumpkin with some hot glue, and then I am going to attach the flowers with some hot glue on each side of the leaves, and then I'll put a third one right in the center. Now you could also embellish yours with ribbon, or fall leaves would also be pretty, or you could just leave it just plain, just the way it is. It's up to you. Remember to give us a thumbs up and to subscribe to our channel and share this with your friends.
Didn't this turn out so fun? I'm a little bit obsessed with it.
She wants one for her
I
own
do.
tour now too, so we'll probably have to make a second one.
Yep. What other creative ideas do you have using this Dollar Tree pumpkin ring? Let us know in the comments below.
Yes. Thanks for watching a Sunnyside Design video where we hope to bring your home to the sunny side of the street.